to
Oh,
twist my arm very hard. I
good.
love Toronto. I had every time we showed up in Toronto, I had a great time. So you
So
want to
you
twist my arm?
you came twice to Toronto, right? There was back-to-back years, I believe, '03 and '04, and your first time in here, you won. How'd that
I,
feel?
I feel like I was there 3 times, but I don't know, maybe 2 times. I did make a couple other trips up to London, and so they might have blended together a little bit over the years. But yeah, I mean, the island, it was just incredible. It was absolutely incredible. I remember the effort you put in to get those wagons full of beer to the ferry, and then from the ferry to Tournament Central. I mean, that had to be like a half a mile, and I was thinking about this weekend, and I was like, there had to be like 30 to 50 cases. Now I might be exaggerating, but what was the
Oh, there
ballpark
must have
number on
been
the cases?
80 or 100.
Yeah, there were. We were
Dragging them
sponsored
with
pretty
carts, like almost a half a mile.
good.
That was
Yeah,
pretty
but you know
incredible.
what? He got smart after that, and he
Yeah,
started hiring a water taxi instead of using the ferry. And the water
yeah.
taxi would bring us right up, like we'd all meet, and then we'd load up the water taxi, and then we'd all ride across there, and we'd tool around that little island, and he'd pull us right up on the planks right there, right where Paul had headquarters set, like kind of off the side of and across the path from one, right? Wasn't that where that was? Kind
Yeah,
of
no,
where
I
they,
think we were doing Tournament Central around where Full Four is, where the bridge to Snake Island is.
oh yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah, you're
one of the
right.
only water
Yeah, you're
holes.
right. You're right.
But like it's not easy running a tournament on the island, and sometimes you have to be the hardest working. I mean, you got to let them see you sweat, just to know that you're working. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we're all tournament directors here. We know the eyes are on you. So when you're breaking that sweat, they go, "Holy cow, he's working! Look at him go!"
Hey, you pulled a lot of beer out there, and I had a really pretty bad first round. I was like, well, screw it, let's have some beers. And I tied one on at lunchtime and went out and shot like near the course record. I was like, this beer thing's a good idea. I might start doing this.
Yeah,
All
see,
right, so
that reminds me of remember the time when Twirly and Kara brought the trailer over there,
yeah,
and Kara is muscling the trailer back to the and Twirly's nowhere to be found.
and no, I don't. I still can't remember where he was.
I don't know
Probably in
either,
the
but
office.
she was pulling it like a champ.
So you've been playing, Kev. You're shoe in for the Hall of Fame. You've got an amazing resume already. Four-time doubles world champ, um, 39 majors, 2 wins, top five top threes, 17 top tens, cashed in every major except for four. I mean, that's some good time Charlie action right there. You've got an international win here on Toronto soil, and you've been playing at least 30 years. But let's just start you at the start. And why don't you give us a description of, I mean, you grew up just outside of Tulsa.
Yep.
And how did disc golf first come across your radar? And what was the first course that you played?
I just missed it when I was about 12 or 13. I lived right pretty near McClure Park in Tulsa. And I tried disc golf for the first time after catching some frisbees at a CBA basketball game, the Tulsa Fast Breakers. They threw some frisbees up in the stands. And I was like, oh, sweet, it costs frisbees. Let's go try it out at McClure Frisbee Golf. And of course,
Nice.
it was like a 100-gram, you know, flippy dog. And
Fastback.
you go to try to play that in Tulsa on the first hole when the wind's blowing 30 miles an hour. It's like, this game is stupid. I'm out of here. So I gave it one whole try for one hole and didn't have the right equipment. But I always played golf, and I was a big golfer. And the guys I played golf with, I mean, we were 18, 16, 17, 18. We always kind of relied on our parents, but we wanted to play more and more and more. And we just couldn't afford to pay $50 to go play golf all the time. So he was like, let's go try this disc golf. And I was like, man, no way. I tried it already. It sucks. And he's like, no, no, come on, just one more time. Give it one more try. And then he put golf disc in my hand. Once I had golf disc in my hand, he was like, oh, shit. I understand it now. And so I went out that night and bought a pink shark and a yellow stingray, or a scorpion, excuse me,
Okay.
and went out and played about 36 holes the next day, and went and bought an F-15 and a stealth from Lightning because it had airplanes on it. And I was like, it's got airplanes on it. It's got to fly pretty good.
Right.
Not exactly, but it looked cool. Looked cool. I helped your guy down out in Dallas by buying some of his plastic, Steve Howe, rest his soul. And but yeah, I liked the airplane disc at first, but I got to the point where I got so addicted with the game that I was playing kind of I would play like almost 100 holes a day. I got a job as a pizza delivery boy, so I could work at night and play golf all day. I mean, I got that addicted to the game, and
Wow.
so that's how I picked it up really fast. I won the '93 Riverside Glide in novice, and I won the '94 Riverside Glide in open. So
Yeah, I
I mean,
saw that. And you also won the what is it, Doug Lack Memorial in rec that first year too, as a novice player.
2 for
And then
2 in
Yeah,
I
that
thought it
first
was
year.
pretty interesting. You won it in rec one year, and then you won it in open the next.
yeah, I was like I said, I was so ate up with the sport that I was a broke college kid. I was a baseball player, so it was kind of a release from the baseball field to go out there, and I just got really good really fast. And
Well, that's partially part of the way we got to be such good friends, because that one semester when you played at Texas Women's or Texas Wesleyan,
Texas
you were here
Wesleyan, yeah,
all the time. Like every time I turned around, oh, there's Kevin again. At
yeah.
the
I
local
was
minis
living with
and
my
stuff
uncle
like
in
that.
Arlington. Yeah, I had an uncle that was living in Arlington. He kind of let me shack up there while I was going to school in Fort Worth, and being around Zebos and those courses right there, it was like hog heaven for me. But Veterans Park was really where I got, because that was just right down the street from my uncle's house. That's where I played a lot of golf at.
Veterans
And back
was
then, that was about as good of a course you could get.
so this actually, well, I was thinking about this earlier today. Many people don't, especially people new to the game, they look at UDisc, they see there's 30 courses within a 5-minute, 10-minute drive or whatever. They don't know the struggle back in the day. Like for me here in Toronto, we had 2 courses in Toronto, 1 course in St. Thomas, and that was it for Ontario. We had to cross a border and go into one of the various states to go to play other ones. So for you, in your early days, there was McClure Park. What else was there just like around?
Actually, we were pretty lucky in Tulsa. Steady Ed came through in 80, 81 and put 5 courses in. We had Chandler, Hakey Creek, Riverside, and the where we played at Doug Lack Memorial. I don't know how I'm going blank on that. That was in my hometown. Mac Taylor Park. And so we had some courses there. And Chandler, they're all pitch and putt, old, 180 footers, 220s. There's a lot of courses in town, but yeah, we were pretty fortunate to have a lot of courses in town. They weren't very hard or challenging. Once I got out into the real world of disc golf, they didn't really help much. I mean, they kind of gave me the bug to enjoy golf, which they are real fun courses. But once we
Gave
got
you a
into
lot
the
of
world
places,
of pro
gave you
disc
a lot of
golf,
places to work on your mid range or your up shots.
yeah, yeah. Well, even when I moved we moved from Oklahoma to here. When I moved here, there was one course within 30 minutes from my house, and so I was like, this is not cool at all. And now we got about, I guess, probably about 25 courses in our area. Thank goodness. I mean, so the game has definitely exploded. Recently. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. I mean, so
Sorry.
the game has definitely exploded.
Yeah. Sorry.
We've got a spy in our midst.
I'm sometimes I'm stupid with this stuff, okay? I'll just straight up admit it.
Well, that's what we expect from our web host over here.
Well,
But okay, so when you were first, okay, we all understand that process of getting hooked, like landing the big fish. And for many of us, there was that turning point where you're like, holy God, I gotta play tomorrow. I gotta play the next day. I gotta go out there every day. I gotta play. And then you started increasing your range. You look beyond your town and you think, oh yeah, I'll go across the state or I'll go across state lines to something. For you in 1993, 1994, what was like considered the mecca within the area? I mean, we all had dreams, De La Viega or Brandywine or mythical places like this. But where you were, what was like, oh, I got to go play that. I got to test my skills against that place.
Yeah, in the early days, I was pretty dumb on the whole subject. I mean, I thought the courses in my area were pretty awesome, But
Okay.
Veterans Park was definitely when I got down to Arlington. that was about as good as it got for disc golf in our area. But in Oklahoma, Norman, you go to Norman Lions Park. It was where they had an A tier there. In the mid '90s, Mikey Sayer came up from the DFW area and won that tournament. I made friends with him real quick, and he's a really cool guy. And so yeah, but we didn't really have that special course in Oklahoma growing up. We had fun courses, but not that course like De La or anything like that. That's like legendary.
Right.
So it took a little time to get there with Oklahoma. We were kind of stuck in the early days of pitch and putt. Everything was par three and big disc and shallow rim baskets, and so it took us a little while to get caught up. But it didn't take long. Once we got the Am Worlds and stuff, Tulsa really started to boom itself.
Now, I don't want to take up too much of this, but I know that was a special high water mark for you, especially because as I know the Tulsa Disc Golf Association, am I getting that right? TDGA.
TDSA.
Tulsa Disc
You guys won
Disc Sport. Yeah.
You won. Oh, Disc Sport. Sorry, you won the TD of the year for that based on the Am Worlds. How much is that? I as a team leader, you're going to credit the whole team, but you probably worked your hiney off on that one, didn't you?
Well, I mean, yes, it was definitely a team effort, and there's no way that anybody could have put their name on that trophy by themselves because, I mean, Joe Rattan came in and kind of did a lot of the retail and stuff, and kind of marketed the Worlds and everything. I mean, he sold it hard, and I mean, all the special events like the Billy Sims barbecue and
That was awesome. I remember that. I had a really good time. I had a really good
Crooked
time
X
in
up there to
Amherst.
rock the stage and stuff like that. I mean, that was all Joe. Dave Wise he was our accountant and everything, made sure all our money was right. Wayne Forrest, and I was more in charge of all the courses. Since I was out there on playing, championship courses across the country, I was the one who wanted to make sure that when people came to Tulsa, they had some respect for our courses. So I wanted to make them look as good as they could. That was my primary role with the Worlds. But yeah, I mean, look back hindsight, I kind of regret getting off the road at that time because 2005 and 2006, I was pretty freaking good, and I pretty much took 2006 off to help run Am Worlds, and and kind of missed out on chance to do some damage out there because 2005 is when I won, several events like Maple Hill and Glass Blown, Pittsburgh, and that kind of stuff. I was winning plenty of places across the country. So 2006 rolled around. I was like, I'm going to commit to this. I kind of want to do more in disc golf than just be a player. Maybe be an event director, or I became the state coordinator when we got the Am Worlds too. So back in the early days, there was a lot of bitching online on the discussion board and stuff like that. You probably remember all those days.
Nina Fo Tre. I remember those
it
days.
was like the game was still early. It was like I can make a change, or I can do some good if I become a leader in somewhat. So I became a state coordinator, and when I was a state coordinator, I was like, I want to get an A tier here, an annual A tier here. I want to get some national tours. I want to get Am Worlds here, and so all this stuff started happening. We got the Oklahoma Open going. We got a couple of national tours come to town. The Greater Tulsa Open, the one that was at the Lodge in 2009. So we had it all going, and then kind of Courtney got in the way and moved me to Georgia. So
Kidnapped you, took you away.
yeah, but we kind of once we got to Georgia, scene was kind of lacking where we lived at, so we kind of got into the community and just started, building courses and getting leagues going, that kind of stuff. And now the South Side of Atlanta is really booming right now. So not quite had the camaraderie we had in Tulsa. That Tulsa crew was a really good crew.
It's pretty amazing,
like
man. I mean, it's so many. Like I tell this story all the time, but I stayed with Connors over there at Billy's old house there for y'all's wedding, and I sat in there that afternoon and just thought about just all the fun that I'd had in that house alone. Not even all the fun that I had in Tulsa. I mean, I had a lot. I mean, we could just do a Tulsa show and it wouldn't be enough, to talk about all the fun that we had, in the 90s and the early 2000s, all those Oklahoma Opens and, like like that time when I called Feldberg a cheap ass bastard and he chased me out into the street on the Monday after the Oklahoma Open. I mean, like just stuff like that, stuff that was, you know,
That's a great
somewhat
story to
irrelevant,
tell.
but was incredibly entertaining. You know what I mean? Lots and lots and lots of it.
There was definitely some benefits of living directly right across the street from 18's tee pad at the course.
Oh, without a doubt.
We had it was that, and there was some detriment to it too, because I mean, our house always had people in it. I mean, people would just walk through and
Always.
just hang out. Courtney was definitely sick of that when she was living there. She's like, man, just people are just hanging out here until 10:30 every night. We throw open the garage door and sell disc out of the garage. So I mean, it was like a pro shop anyway. So it was cool living over there, but I'm glad I live way out in the sticks now.
Yeah.
Are you in a gated community there?
No gated community, but
Okay.
we're definitely far away from the mayhem of Atlanta.
So it's the last couple of guests we've talked to Dan Ginley and Jim Oates, and both of those guys are top level disc golf organizers as well as top level players. And I was saying to them how rare that is, but now here with third guest in a row, you're continuing to play at a seriously top level. You played at a top level for a long time in your career, and you've done really impressive, amazing things as a course designer, as a promoter, as a vendor. Your many media appearances, you're running leagues, all of that. It's not an easy job, and most people have to choose: I'm going to be a player or I'm going to be a promoter, and to have to kind of duck walk the line and do an amazing job at both of them.
Don't forget he was on the board of directors, PDJ board of directors as well.
There's many hats. I don't know, and none of them are Cubs hats I see up there.
Yeah, Cubs. I'm still checking them out a little bit. See how they're going. I'm still a
What?
Cubs
That ain't
fan.
how that works. Oh no,
No,
dude.
I mean I'm still a Cubs fan. I'm still
You've already
disappointed.
tattooed that
So,
on your reputation for years and years. That don't go
oh
away.
yeah, no, I'm definitely a Cubs fan, but I'm not wearing the hat. I'm just a little disgusted the way we spend our money. But other than that, yeah, we're still good. But yeah, I mean, like I said, there was days where I was like, man, this stuff about the PDJ sucks, and this tournaments could be better and that kind of stuff. And it's like, if you're gonna bitch about it, you better put your money where your mouth is, or mouth where your money is, or whatever you're talking, and get out there and do something about it. So I've dabbled in tournament directing. It's not my favorite thing to do, but we got to keep events going. And with
Somebody,
new pop, got to keep it rolling. So I've got a lot of new courses going in over here. So I always want to show it off and have some events out there. So yeah, we've just keep doing it. I'm trying to get away from all the other stuff and just become a player. I would really like just to become a player someday, but I don't know if it's ever going to happen.
You've been dancing too many steps for too long. They can't. It's like The Godfather. Every time you think you're out, they drag you back in. I mean, especially
Yeah.
if you've got a flair for being in front of the public. It's not easy standing in front of people and doing the announcement, being the tournament director, being the face. It's somebody's got to do it, and I know I'm glad that it's you doing that down there, because we need
Well,
more faces in the game.
I'm glad technology is kind of caught up. So a lot of the stuff is, we don't have to sitting around for awards and stuff like that and having to scramble at the last minute to do all that stuff. Everything's kind of automated with PayPal and stuff. So, they've made it a lot easier for tournament directors in the last, 5-10 years. So
without a doubt,
that's
there's definitely a lot of. I mean, like standing there at lunch and checking scorecards is a thing of the past, and that's. I got pretty good at it, but I'm glad I haven't tuned up my skills in the last 3 or 4 years, because it's just another thing you don't have to really worry about.
Oh yeah.
yeah, and even when we were still uploading the spreadsheet, I think it was the Callaway Gardens tournament, and I think it was 2014ish. I was running the whole tournament from my phone. Where I could upload a spreadsheet onto their little platform on pdj.com, and it'd all be posted online. So I mean, definitely from the days of adding the scorecards and adding the scores and shuffling the scorecards. And if I was had to do that every day, I would not be a TD anymore for sure.
That I got a big dose of that at Flagstaff and in Tulsa too, at both of those AM Worlds. I mean, I helped y'all with that. I ran the I was telling Paul yesterday we were talking about it. I ran distance for you over at the Hawks at one of the, I guess it was Red Hawk over there or whatever. I remember all of us were hiding under like 2 trees, and we'd stay there until someone would
yeah.
show up, and then everybody go out to the field and we do our thing, and then we'd all run back to the tree because was it hot that week. Holy cow.
That's not a time of year to be having anything going on in Oklahoma, but that's when
Or
the world's
Texas.
wide. Yeah. Brutal.
Wrong
tough.
time of year.
They should
Wrong
take into
time of year.
consideration geography and climate when they're deciding who gets the worlds, because
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, that's
who
just
wants to be in Port Arthur, Texas in August?
I thought about
years in a
going to
row.
that, and that's exactly why I didn't go, was because I was just like, yeah, this isn't a good idea. I think somebody offered me some money to come to work that day too. It probably wasn't an amount that would get me interested now, but it was then.
So let's stay with this whole idea of you as a course designer. You were saying that you've been very active in putting in courses. One of the parts of the research, I think 25 was the course number. What is your course count up to now what is the Kev McCoy signature course count?
Well, we're at 25, and we got a grand opening of a little ace place, a little 9-hole ace place to be redesigned in Peachtree City on the 14th of April. So we'll get to count that one. And then I got 2 new courses that are just about to open whenever they get T-pads installed in Opelika, Alabama. They're going to be really cool. Really, really anxious to get people out there playing those 2 courses because he wanted some big championship caliber courses. I mean, I don't really like gold level courses myself. I'm kind of a blue level course, par 60, 62, because I think that you should be able to go out on a Thursday night and be able to play a league round on it. I don't want to have a course yet 5-hour round. So, I mean, I could do a gold course, but my specialty, my wheelhouse are like blue level courses, par 60s. So, yeah, so I got 2 of those popping up in Alabama. And I just started scouting 2 more in a little town called Griffin, where we've kind of built disc golf from the scratch in that town. We originally started talking with Spalding County. I went in there and talked to them about like, hey, Griffin, Georgia has a town of 30,000 people. There's a town in Kansas that has 30,000 people, and let me show you what they do. And pretty much showed them the Emporia, Kansas. And I was like, we can build these courses and we can host an event. We can get, up to 1,000 people to come to your town, and I was like, if you build it, they will come. And so we're about 7 or 8 years into that now. And these next 2 courses will be number 6 and 7 in the town of 30,000. So
Nice.
they've really committed to, they want to be the capital of disc golf in the South. And so we're working on it. I told them I got a long ways to go to catch Charlotte. Charlotte's pretty awesome disc golf place.
Yeah,
But
yeah, it's gonna be hard to eclipse that one, but I mean, it's not bad. That's a really good model to look up to.
Mm.
And it just opened another course just right down the street from me finally. I mean, even though we're got some course in the area, I still had to drive like about 30 minutes or 20 minutes, 25 to 30 minutes closest course. Now I got one 10 minutes away. So we're getting a little bit closer.
There
And
you
this one's a
go.
pretty good one in Sharpsburg, Georgia. We call it the Mutt.
The Mutt, huh?
Yeah.
So is all of this work that you're doing with disc golf course design and installation, is that all through Disc Golf Park, or do you have a separate thing going on?
No, I kind of just started working. Avery hit me up about Disc Golf Park. I haven't really started working with them yet. I'm basically, when I talk to people about a course that they're interested, I'll give them the packages. I mean, they ask me how much targets are, and I'll give them the options. I can give you, and they say, what do you recommend? And I tell them, well, either one of the targets, you're gonna be fine. The golf park targets are fine. Endless baskets are my favorite. Um, so I give them both packages. Basically, this golf park is more of a turnkey solution where we'll just take care of everything for you. We'll bring the grinder in, um, and we'll install the course, everything. And most of the time when I'm working with the county municipalities and stuff like that, they're doing a lot of the work themselves. So, they just want targets. They're just like, hey, where can we get some targets? So most of the time it's just with Innova or something like that. So, they have the colors I like and the price. They're pretty hard to beat for their disc catcher 28. So that's where most the courses come in from. It's just luckily with the guy with Spalding County, he was head of the Georgia Parks and Recs department. So I got some more jobs because of what we're doing in Griffin. So
Cool.
luckily business is good right now. We're got jobs popping up. So that's a good thing.
Nice. That's
But
good.
you're not doing the Avery. You're not going to Montenegro and installing a course yet. You're not going to.
No. But I did see our boy Paul McBeth this weekend and got to rap with him about some baseball and stuff. He's such a cool guy. I mean, so many people run up and talk to him about stuff, and he gives them the time and stuff. But I can see that anytime he can get away from somebody and talk something about other than disc golf, like when he can come talk to me about baseball or stuff, it's a big kind of relief for him. So, and I was talking to him about it, and I was like, hey man, I see that you're kind of contracting those jobs out for the Paul, McBeth Foundation courses. And I said, hey, keep me in mind, bro. Bahamas, holla.
Yeah, I'm available.
No, I don't care where they're at. They can be in the middle of BFE, Mississippi. I just really love putting courses in. I love building courses to make players better. My whole slogan is authentic disc golf, where I believe in natural disc golf. I don't have baskets 15 feet up in the air. I've got 25 courses, 0 Mandos, not a Mando guy. Natural hazards. I don't like anything. So my whole
Mando's not
slogan
the
is
answer.
authentic disc golf.
Mando's not the answer.
Yeah.
Keep
So
looking. If you
no
gotta use a
holes in the
Mando to make the
ground.
course, then you gotta find the other hole.
Yeah. I mean,
Any of
if
my
you're,
courses, you're not going to find any shenanigans. It's just going to be natural, authentic disc golf.
and especially if
No,
you've got.
wait a minute. I don't know. There's no shenanigans with Kevin McCoy. Come on now. Hold on.
No,
Not on
different
disc
kind
golf
not
courses.
with
I want to play
Wait, come on, dude. I
thousand.
remember like a lot of shenanigans.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
no,
a
personally,
lot of shenanigans.
we're not necessarily going to air out all the shenanigans tonight, but
Definitely not gonna air all the shenanigans tonight, but I was definitely involved in a couple of shenanigans with you for sure.
well, Mace, this leads perfectly into one level of shenaniganery. Maybe
Uh-oh.
you could start by talking about your shirt that you're wearing, because everybody now is looking at this. They know your name is Brian, but they see the name tag on there, and now we see the Wonder Woman W on there, and we're thinking, what is this all about? So why don't you set that up
Wonder
for us?
Woman W. Okay, so that shirt, like it's been hanging in my hall, in my coat closet, my front door of my place forever, ever since, yeah, like 20 years, right? Because it's 20 years now, right? This is
20 years.
2023.
This
Yeah,
is the
so
year.
it's been 20 years. 20 years since we all went to the first national tour event, right? It was the Golden State Classic was the first national tour event. And that year at the big show, McCabe showed up and was like, hey, I got tickets already for The Price is Right. We need to go. And all of us were heading that way anyways. And so we all went. Billy Crump got up at like 5 in the morning and got in line for us. And so anyways, we're gonna
My
try to
tour
make,
life, every tour day I lived on The Price is Right. I mean, I woke up to watch The Price is Right while I was on tour. So when they said that, I was game for sure.
oh, for sure. For sure.
You were just like the
And
casual.
Billy, you and Billy used to watch it like habitually.
That's
Oh
good.
yeah.
Okay, so it's after. So this is the Monday after the Gold State Championships. Eric McCabe has got the tickets, and it didn't take Kevin more than a second to figure out that this is where he was going to be in life. So now it's Monday after the tournament.
Yeah.
By the way, was it a good experience in the tournament?
Yeah.
That weekend, I don't even remember. I only remember The Price is Right that weekend. That was all.
Okay.
That was pretty much a blur leading up to it. And then all of a sudden that whole day was, man, it was something. So like we were in line at 6 I think pretty much everybody was in line at 6, but Billy was in line at 5, and he was holding our place. And I guess some people were giving him a hard time, and then all of us showed up, and those people started leaving him alone just because they realized, oh wow, wait, there's 5 of them. Now there's 10 of them, and then we ended up at 19. And man, I mean, to me, we used to do something different every Monday when we were on. I mean, it was a lot of times it was roller coaster parks, or theme parks, amusement parks and stuff like that. But we always did something together, separate from the sport. We were doing something else. It was Monday Fun Day, and man, that was a fun Monday. That was probably the best.
Hey, I'm just so glad that you trusted me. You trusted me when I was screaming out my lungs because I knew it. I was like, I've seen that son of a bitch 5 times. I know how much that is.
If you ever watch it, and we're gonna show it here in a little bit. We're gonna show it here in a little bit. And when you see, I look back every time, and I was looking at Kevin. I was like, do
you have it, Mace? Do you have it?
I have it up. Okay, so we'll see if we can pull this off.
Yeah.
But from what I understand, we need to share the screen, correct?
Yep.
And so I got the screen behind.
So this'll just like your whole, our whole screen will be what we see on your desktop.
All right.
So
Why are you setting that up? I can just keep going on this page.
So there was 19 of you guys, and you spelled out. Well,
play disc golf with Bob.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there were 2 eyes.
Came up with that.
Oh, here we go.
All right.
You can go. You go to YouTube and see this yourself.
It was just incredible how much time Bob spent with it, talking about disc golf in general. I mean, that's what was so geeked about.
Look at that. There. Look at that. Do we have volume on that? This is what I loved about
the magic words that May said when we did the pre-show interview. He said, "I'm a promoter of disc golf," and they were like, "Oh, this is some guy we want to talk to right here." And I just had a feeling, if one of us gonna get called up, it's probably gonna be Mason. He was the man.
He did an excellent job right here.
I don't think it could have been a better guy to get out there and talk about disc golf at the time.
Look at
that would have been like stunning all over.
Yeah, I just got $1, by the way. He got $1. It was awesome.
Mace Man looks away. He's like, God. But you're right, Kev. You're right. There's no better person on the planet.
It did help that you had some people you're playing against that were not the brightest.
No, that guy wasn't on.
Next to her was a bonehead.
So look, there's our whole group right there.
There's the group.
Here we are. Here we are. There I am, my fro kicking.
This guy's not that smart either.
Yeah, they were. Man, you got pretty lucky right there.
Wait for this guy's expression after he gives his bid. It's priceless.
Looking back. I wonder what.
See there, Kevin's like giving me bad information. That's why I was laughing.
Screaming at top of like, I knew this one. 750.
Look at him. Dumb as a box of rocks.
$125.
Thanks. Courtesy of Big Cav.
I can only imagine your butterflies sitting up there just pounding right now, like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Well, dude, I had total advantage. I mean, I've worked stuff like that. I'm from the entertainment business. This is another day at work.
$1. He goes $1 and a guy wins 125.
Look at him. He wins
$1. What
look at that gaggle. That's our group right there.
Was that?
Oh yeah, we were going ham. We were going nuts.
Now wait, Mace, do we have volume on this? Can we get volume?
Look at these terrible prizes. I mean, look at these fabulous prizes.
Dream carpet. That's for like a child, isn't it?
Yeah, this is nothing that Mace needed at all.
I gotta give credit where credit's due, man. Bob knows how to ask you the questions to get you to give up the info. And like right here in a minute, I'm gonna spill the beans in my mind. And then again a minute later, I'm gonna.
This is where we get to talk about it. There. Boom. Sit down, the guy in red. What are you doing? Now, of all the games that he could have been faced with,
Have to consult my expert, Big Kev. One more time,
honestly,
Big
was
Kev.
not sure on
one more
this one.
time. One more time. No, he's gonna stick. Oh, he did it.
It never gets old, man. It never
Look,
gets
he's
old.
asking me more questions.
And this is super rare. Bob really doesn't ever come back for like a secondary
No.
interview on like right
He
before the
usually
wheel.
give you like maybe like 10, 15 seconds, but this was like a full minute and a half or so. This was
Yeah,
crazy.
he's
Mace, look how small your chin hair is there. Look at that. This is a junior edition.
Baby chin hair.
Look at everybody. Nobody can sit. They're all like, "Ah." Now, if anybody is watching this, they really could. You should go to YouTube. You should see this. You should see the video and hear it for yourself. Because, man, I was blown away. And you were there in
Mace
the
Mountain
audience.
Price is
Ken.
right. It's up there. I don't know who posted
Yeah.
it. It might have been John Maero. I don't know.
I can tell you what, not only did Mays have a great night here, post show, I mean, I don't know if this has got out to the world, but Mace Man loaded up that night. I mean, he was such a star on the show as some big red, we called her.
Big Red.
She had a big old cowgirl hat on, and she just attached to Brian like stink on shit. She was all over him. That was awesome. I remember we stayed. Can't remember where we stayed, but I don't know that those windows are pretty foggy back there. That's all I know.
Oh,
I wish we could see if we could pull up old Big Red. She was a cutie, but man, she was all about some Brian Mace that night. She was a youngster funkster. She probably wasn't about 20 years old.
She was pretty young.
look
There's
at that
two,
big, powerful spin.
3 laps.
He's tracking it down, tracking it down, tracking it down. Oh,
Selena screwed me on that spin.
Yeah, I mean, I would always wanted to get up there and spin it and see what it felt like to spin it. I figured it was pretty light, and then they had a brake on it on the back.
Well, it was, and they had it weighted right, and it was on good bearings, so it spun easy. And like, if you
Yeah.
can't spin that, man,
yeah. There you go.
Oh well, that was definitely a great day. We went to see Conan O'Brien or something. What was it? Conan O'Brien later? Somebody.
yeah,
I
we
don't know
went.
who it was.
No, it was
Craig Kilburn
Craig
Craig
Kilborn.
Kilburn.
Yeah,
had that little Russian music act where the two girls made out. And I was like, well, this is all right.
yeah. And then remember how we were on the last row, and we started stomping on the floor and making more noise than everybody. And so like the dude that was the audience fluffer started hanging out with us. Like he was like, I like you guys, and he wouldn't leave.
Yeah.
Like he kept
didn't have
getting
to
us candy, and
get us riled up very hard. We were already riled up.
we were definitely around. That was a great day. That was a lot of
That
fun.
was
That was all
hell
on
of
the
a day.
same day. That's epic.
One day.
Oh,
One day
yeah.
from hell.
Craig Kilborn show. That's what
Great
it was.
hell.
You're right.
It was incredible.
Monday, fun day
It
indeed.
went from 5 a.m. to about 2 in the morning. It was a long day.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Wow.
That was so much fun. That was so much fun. But you know what? That was one of those things. Like, how many times did we go to Cedar Point? Like, remember that time when we had to almost carry Dagan back to the motorhome because his back went out on him?
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like, remember, I might have already talked about this once, but remember we went to Kings Island that one year and Brad tagged along and then he got sick right after the first roller coaster and he was like over the fence puking, like as the far of the fence he was just tall enough to hook his chin over it.
Is that the "you have to be this tall to ride" sign?
Well, it should have been. He slid through.
I used to always hit up ballparks. I mean, anytime that we didn't have something going on, I was looking for a ballpark to go to on a Monday fun day. And I clipped off over 22 ballparks while I was out on the road. So
Nice, you're way ahead of me on that. I'd love to be that far into it. That's
What was
almost done, man. You only got 10 more to go.
What was your favorite ballpark that you went to?
Well, I'm attached to Wrigley and everything. We like to go there and ball hawk before the game and that kind of stuff. But I went to San Francisco, AT&T Park. That was awesome because when I was there, Oklahoma City Thunder were playing the Golden State Warriors, and Oklahoma State, when Kevin Durant and Westbrook and Harden was playing for the Thunder, went up 3-1 against the unbeatable Golden State Warriors. And here I am.
I don't know how they didn't win that series. I mean, seriously,
And here
how
I
did they
am at
not win that?
AT&T Park in San Francisco with my Oklahoma City Thunder gear on, and I was just walking around like, woo! Because like me and Mitch Mack, when we go to the ballpark, we always just kind of would like try to get in fight guy. Not really getting fights, but piss people off. Like we root for the away team every time.
Were you there? Hey, were you there in Cincinnati at like in '98 when he threw that disc out on the field?
That was me, Mitch Mack, and Benny.
I was there too.
Yeah. So, you were there? Okay.
I didn't throw, but I was with you guys for sure.
Yeah, that was the Mitch Mack when he threw the second shot. That was my disc that I was supposed to throw with them out there, and the security guard came, and we walked up behind the mezzanine, behind home plate, and I gave him the disc, and he was like, and the cop was right there, and he goes, "If you throw that on the field, I'm gonna throw you in jail." And Mitch Mack looked at me and said, "Kevy, get ready to run." And he just launched the shit out of that disc way out in the center field from the second level mezzanine. It was incredible. And we booked it the hell out of there.
That was before they cut that park in half.
Yeah.
Like it went all the way around back then. And now they cut it in half.
Well, yeah, it's got a whole new Ballpark America. I've been to both the Cincinnati ballparks, and I've been to 22 ballparks, but I've only been to like 17 or 18 different. Like I've been to both the Astrodome and Minute Maid Park in Houston. Been to both the Comiskey's.
I got energy too because I did the Final Four down there, so I got all three of those in Houston. I hadn't been to Comiskey. I hadn't been to Wrigley. I have been. I saw the Bulls versus the Lakers in 1973 or 4 in the old Chicago Stadium.
Well, I had a interesting story with basketball game too while I was out on tour. We were up in Delaware for Brandywine, playing that A tier up there, and in Philadelphia it was about 40 minutes away. It was Michael Jordan's last basketball game.
No.
And, I was like, let's go check it out, So we get up there, and all the stadiums in Philadelphia are all in the same parking lot, and
yep.
And so we're looking for tickets, and sure enough, I found the guy who sells us tickets for $200 a piece, and I'm calling all my boys back home. I'm going to Jordan's last basketball game. Woo, woo, woo! I'm just going crazy and everything. So sure enough, it's game time. Walking up, hand them the 2 tickets, and so here comes the police, and they're like going to throw me in jail and stuff with counterfeit tickets. I'm like, whoa, wait a second here. No, I just bought these outside. I didn't print these. Don't throw me in jail. You'll find them up, to rip me off. Yeah. So I got some brotherly love in the city of brotherly love in that night. But sure enough, the Phillies were playing that same night, and I told a guy that was going to the basketball game my story, and he just gifted me his tickets from the baseball game that he was trying to sell while he was going to the basketball game. Wow. So I did get to see a baseball game for $400 to the sorry ass Phillies. But
damn.
It was a crazy night though, but I really thought I would see Michael Jordan's last basketball game. I was so geeked. I called all my homies back home.
Damn.
That's
rough.
That's even a better story than if you had gone to see the actual.
That was at the Rectum too. I mean the Spectrum too, wasn't it? That was before the new building.
Yeah, that was before the new building. So, and then it was before it was actually the old vet too, the old baseball stadium. They tore it down too.
Oh, nice.
It was the last year of the vet, so I got to see that done right before they tore it down.
Me, Jonathan, and Trey went and saw the Tony Hawk Boom Boom Huck Jam there at the Wachovia, whatever they call it now, wherever the Flyers play. And then they had the new Philly. I think everything was new there, but the Rectum was still there, and they hadn't torn it down yet.
Yeah, so it's a cool atmosphere to have all the stadiums right there.
Yeah,
cool.
Sure.
I mean,
well, share the parking.
Tailgate and stuff. Yeah, that's cool.
So, in addition to you're obviously a huge sports fan. You played baseball, so it's understandable where your baseball connection comes from. But you also have another major sporting passion, and you're getting even more and more into it. And we can see behind you the evidence of that major passion.
Oh yeah.
Talk to us about this whole horse racing business. First of all, how did you even get into this? Like, and did you have to go to Kentucky to get into it?
No. Actually, it started out with my uncle. He was really into horse racing, handicapper, played the track all the time in Maryland, and he came to visit his sister in Tulsa one time, and Fair Meadows was running at the time, and he's like, "Let's go check out the track." And it was just quarter horses, mostly quarter horses, and a couple thoroughbred races. But he took me out there and showed me the racing form, and taught me how to read the racing form. And if you've ever seen the racing form, it looks crazy if you don't know what the hell you're looking at. So he taught me how to read that thing, and sure enough, like the second day I go out there and I'm able to place a bet. I think my dad made the bet for me because they went out there and I hit 5 out of 6 on the pick six. That was worth $250,000 that day. And literally the horse I didn't win on, he stumbled out of the gate to his knees and still came back and almost lost by a nose and just got nipped. So
So you
after
picked
that, I
all
was
6
kind of
winners
hooked.
except for one? Is that what the deal
Yeah,
is?
you gotta pick a winner of 6 straight races.
Okay.
So and you
And you
can
picked
pick.
5 out of 6.
Yeah. So so after that, I was kind of like, well, this is easy. I'm gonna come back and track all the time. And it didn't turn out to be that easy, but I just started falling in love with the sport and being right there on the rail. I mean, the horses kind of walk by you, the jockeys walk by you, and the trainers are talking to them. You just kind of start figuring out the whole game and stuff, and kind of got into it. And nothing. And when I moved to Georgia, horse racing isn't legal here in the state anyways, so you can't bet or anything. So, I mean, I'd watch it as a casual observer of the Derby, the Triple Crown races, Breeders' Cup, that kind of stuff. But um, then in 2020, I just surf around the internet, and they're like, "Hey, get a chance to buy into a Kentucky Derby hopeful, authentic." And I was looking into, it, and I was like, "Hey, be an owner of a racehorse? I've always wanted to do that, And I don't have a barn or anything. They're taking care of all the expenses, and you just paying one fee, and then they provide experiences for you. If you want to go to the races, you can get in the paddock with the trainers and the owners, and with the trainers and the jockey, and you talk to them. And matter of fact, they took me to Kentucky Downs one time to see one of my horses race. When they gave me the VIP ticket to go watch the race, they said it was $546 to get into the ticket space where we were at, and I got it in for free because I'm a partial owner. And I was
Nice.
like, like, this is my racehorse is treating us good. They had us up in the Gold Club with the Jockey Club with the suite, like imagine being at the Stars game in one of the suites with food and everything like that. So I basically paid like for these horses, I'm paying like $200 or $150 for whatever that. And if you go to the race, I mean, they treat you like you are the owner. I mean, you get the whole
Wow.
experience.
That's pretty cool.
And and they win a race, they send you a photo with your name as the owner on it. I mean, it's the kind of experience you couldn't imagine getting yourself. I mean, because to get authentic, that horse that back there, he's a $20 million horse. I ain't got $20 million to spend on horses, but I had $200 to get a small share of him. And so 5,000 of us got on this share of authentic, and now we get money every time he stands up and breeds. So he's a stallion, and he does his thing, and we get little residuals from his breeding. So basically, what I'd like to do is I got a good friend in Lexington, Kentucky. Matter of fact, I'm going to go see her this next weekend. She was one of the people with Authentic, but she has a stable in Lexington of 64 stables, and so she has the home for the horse. I'm trying to get a group of disc golfers together to get in on a horse to race, and I want to have a disc golf name like Anheuser, and so we can kind of start this disc golf group for a racehorse. Hopefully, we can have get this thing going, and down the road we can have a horse run for the Kentucky Derby with the disc golf silks on with the basket and everything like that. And we'll have a group of disc golfers, and they'll have to interview us about how'd you guys get started. Oh, we're just a bunch of disc golfers like play disc golf and watch horse racing, and And I can just see it how it's just starting to develop. So basically, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get a group of about 12 to 20 people to go in on a horse, and we want to get a filly the first time because fillies have added value because if even if they aren't a very good racehorse, you can take them to a stallion and foal them, and then you can sell the horse as a brood mare, or you can sell their foals. So you can make money back on the back end. So it's horse racing is not a very wise investment. I can tell you that. The whole saying is, if you want to make $1 million in horse racing, you better start with 10 million. But I know I have some
Nice.
friends out there that have deep
That's
pockets that
encouraging.
might want to get into something like that. I mean, well, every once in a while you run into a good one, and if you run
Never know
into
when
a
you're going
good
to be at
one,
the
they
right
can make
place at the right
a lot.
time, right?
Yeah. So, and like I said, my partner, she works with the best trainers in the game, Tom Amos down in Louisiana. He's one of the best trainers in the country, and that's who would be our trainer. So just it's kind of a pipe dream, but I've been throwing it out there to a couple people, and we got about 7 or 8 people's got kind of nibbled on it. So maybe this little bit of exposure out there, maybe might have a couple more. Because let me tell you, when you go to see your horse race on race day, it's pretty freaking exciting, and
That's pretty neat,
especially
man.
if you got a
I've been to a
small
lot of
ownership group, we could really blow it out. We could really have a good time there.
I've been to a lot of events, and I've been to a dog race once, and I've been to a horse race once, and then I've been to the OTB with you that time, uh, when we were lunchtime from Hakey Creek. Like me, you, Voschek, and I don't remember who else. Sam was probably with us, and
Honors is with me, I guarantee it.
yeah, Connors had to have been there too. That was good times. There you go. Oh, we're going to lunch. Oh yeah, we're gonna go bet on the Kentucky Derby too. Come on. And I was like, what? What? And you go in,
Yeah,
it's like the
I
old
was in Lexington. Go ahead.
it's like the old bingo halls, like dark and smoky, except for this was way darker.
But
It was an
I was
interesting
actually in
situation.
Lexington last year during the Derby. The Derby's in Louisville, but I had a tournament in Lexington. So with my friends in Lexington, all our ownership group with Authentic, we went and watched the races, and that Kentucky Derby, man, I was 2 jumps away from winning the easy 500, and all my friends had to pick 5 and pick 6 locked up. I mean, everybody was about to make a lot of money until that 80-1 Rich Strike came out of nowhere and stole our hearts. So it's
always good
but yeah,
storylines with horse racing.
oh
Definitely.
yeah, and I've met a whole new family. They're just like the disc golf family. We got some good apples, we got some crazy nuts in there, but it's just a cool little family to get together when you get the ownership group like that. So hopefully
It's
someday I can get a little disc golf group together to do it.
it seems to me that it's certainly like the Kentucky Derby, maybe just the idea of that elevated level of horse racing is as close to kind of a royal feel as America's ever going to get. People wear their fanciest of finery. I mean,
Mhm.
I saw some of the photos on your Facebook, and they go the full 9 yards. The women are wearing the huge, wonderful hats,
Oh
and they're
yeah,
dressed
yeah.
up, and it's really it's an occasion. And you start drinking champagne at first thing in the morning too, so that certainly helps the tenor of the day, I imagine.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like I said, I got a great group in Lexington. They've had some derby parties, and it's just great people. But yeah, it's all about pomp, the getting dressed up. It's like prom for horse racing. They always wear their best out there, and I'm there to play the ponies and see them run. I just love it. I love the feel when they run by you. That
Oh,
feel when they're hitting the ground. You can feel them. That's it's one of the things I really get off when I go to the races, man. I just feel the power of them running by you.
nice. Now, when you say you own a small percentage of the horse, are you given what the percentage is, or like you
Yeah,
own
for
the?
Authentic, our ownership group has 12% of the horse, and we split it 5,800 ways or something like that. So we own 0.01% of the
Okay.
horse, basically how it works into it. So, um, like I said, with the breeding and everything, I think saw $35 for the first year because we owed a bunch of fees still from the racing, but we should be getting close to $100 a year off his just stud fee.
Hmm.
Like I said, these are very small fractions. We aren't getting into the big stuff. Once we get into, if we get into our own group, the money will be a little different.
Wow.
We'll have a couple more zeros on the end, so when we do get rewards for breeding and everything like that, you'll have a couple more zeros on it and help out a little bit.
Now, I'm just saying you may have to invest in a fedora or two just when you get to that level of ownership. Just saying. You might have to ditch the baseball.
Yeah, I'm typically just a ball cap guy, but I've definitely stopped into Keeneland shop and tried a couple on to see what it looks like, and I still think I'm quite that fancy yet.
That's why I got my look here.
Looking good though. You look good on it. You look good.
Now, I do want to present this because I know that your PDGA number you've turned into a character, even an action hero. But
Yeah,
I don't
the
know if you can
action
see
figure.
this. This I like to call mini me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have Nina anywhere nearby? Do you have?
No,
No, Brian James, Pizza God down in Texas, he bought that when I put that out. Back then, there really wasn't a bunch of places where you could post pictures online, and eBay
except
was
the
just kind of one of
message
those
board.
places. Yeah, and so eBay was just kind of one of those things. So I basically put that thing on eBay as a joke, it was more about the description of the item. You had to read the description of the item to really appreciate the joke of what that was altogether. I just came back from the Memorial playing in Arizona, and I remember walking off the course, and I don't know who it was, maybe one of the old time pros, but they were walking off the course, belly aching and crying about shooting 12 under par, and just like crying be a freaking river shooting 12 under par, that kind of stuff. So I made a meme about, or I made kind of like these pictures, these stage pictures of the Ken
Pre-meme.
doll.
This
Whatever.
is pre-meme.
Yeah, this is pre-meme, but I put like the Ken doll like in this fake hot tub with two Barbies on his shoulders like this, and that was in the description, the photos for the item, and just gave little thought bubbles of what he was thinking at that moment. And I had one where he was kind of standing up behind a ficus tree, looked like he was taking a leak with his fake disc golf bag, So
Yeah,
I mean, basically, it was just a
forgot
big
about
joke
that
to
one.
kind of it was just kind of a big joke to show off, it was kind of silly that these super pros were shooting 13 under par and being bitter and pissed off. So I was going to make this super pro action figure. And sure enough, that was the thing. A super pro action figure, and he's in the hot tub with the babes after the round. He's got the drinking the beer and pissing behind the tree while he's playing without his shirt on. It was just the whole thing. And sure enough, Brian James bought that thing for like $90. People
That's
were bidding on it.
crazy.
And so, yeah, Brian James, he actually told me he still has it. He says it's not in very good shape anymore, but it's still out there. It's still alive. Maybe it's a disc golf monumental trinket that somebody will have to have someday. Who knows?
If ever there's going to be, well, I mean, there already is a flying disc museum, but if it's going to have a permanent home, that's got to enter through the front door.
Well, and
Absolutely.
that's the thing too about that whole thing was that it that was all spawned by the message board, which is like the pre-Facebook Facebook,
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there was lots and lots of other ones, but the BDJ message board was every, it got to be pretty bad, and all of the things that people complain about Facebook now, we had that stuff going 10 years earlier on the message
Well, and
board.
Tulsa was just a big into the discussion board. Matter of fact, there was a time where they were like almost 10% of the whole discussion board was Tulsa crowd.
Yeah.
And our whole thing was just, I mean, that's where we went to communicate. And so we got a little crazy, to say the least.
The good thing about the
Got
internet is
myself
it
in
lives
trouble a few
forever.
times. Yeah.
So one thing that's really near and dear to my heart, I've been playing mini for a long time, and when Innova first came out with the really heavy-weighted mini drivers, that for me changed the game. Now, for me personally, what's changed the game is this skew towards what I call macros, the larger minis that most of the companies are making. Funny enough, Innova isn't in the game. Maybe you can lean on them with that. But you are the two-time PDGA mini world champion. Talk to us about that. Like, do you practice first of all? Have you?
No.
This just
No
comes as
practice is
naturally to
all
you
right.
as anything else?
Well, I mean, still the same stroke. I mean, especially when they came out with the heavy minis, like you said, that's when I got good. I mean, I couldn't throw the regular ones, but when they came out with those heavy ones, I remember the day I got them in Augusta. I went to the hotel. Me and Mitch Mack were staying together at the Masters Inn, high quality hotel right there on
Yeah.
Washington Boulevard. But anyway, I was like, dude, you gotta check out these heavyweight minis. Watch this. And went out, he walked out the door of the hotel room and I threw it over the Burger King, which was like 350 feet away. And his jaw about hit the floor. He was like, what the hell was that? It just rocketed out of my hand, And so, they they had the stability that you could really launch them, and I'd lean on them and I could throw them a long ways. And the putt was the same stroke. I was a push putter anyway, so the putt was literally the same putt I was putting, except my hands were on a little small mini instead of a disc. So I mean, I was good at it just naturally, so definitely didn't practice it. But I did eventually, after winning the first one, I bought a set of 9 targets. So like when I ran events and stuff, that we could set up mini golf and that kind of stuff. So
It's a fun thing to have. It's
oh
definitely a good
yeah.
addition to any event.
Yeah.
Then Matt Dollar is the local, one of my locals around here. He's big into mini golf too, and he actually ran the United States mini disc golf championships in Lula a couple of years ago, and we had a couple of the mini federation guys come down from Pennsylvania to play in it and stuff. So it had a real kind of United States feel. There was probably people from about 5 or 6 states, but still, nonetheless, I mean, for mini golf, anybody would travel to play mini golf. It's pretty crazy about mini golf.
Right, for sure.
I mean, it is.
But
What
there's
talked about,
always. What's your take on the stand and deliver, or do you think you should be able to throw or step and throw? What's your take?
me.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, I've never seen the PDGA mini world. I don't know what the rules are, but the way I approach it is the exact same way as you're playing golf. Like I'll take sometimes a 20-foot run up just to get that extra crank,
Come on.
What?
Yeah, see,
A
I'm not naturally
20-foot
gifted.
run up?
I'm not naturally gifted like you guys are. I have to get my
Oh,
mojo where I
you haven't
can.
seen me play.
in the serious
I'm not
mini
in the
golf,
you guys
that's
crew, that's
frowned
for sure.
upon. The mini federation folks up in Pennsylvania, that's frowned upon. They believe in the stand and deliver. So you put your 1 foot down, and then you can't move it. And then you can take a kind of a back step and kind of rock back and forth, but you got to have your 1 foot planted behind your shot, so there's no run up. And I mean, that's cool. I think that's probably makes the game more fair and more fun, more competitive, because obviously there's some guys who can get up there these days can launch those. I think they had the same weekend they did the distance record with Jen Allen and David Wiggins. I think they did the mini that day too, and it was
I
like
think you're right.
5 something like that. So yeah, I
Five
mean,
500 feet.
We got Jen on
Yeah.
next week, so we'll have to ask her about that.
I think the mini was set that weekend, the weekend too, and it was well over 500 feet. So I mean, that's a big run up and everything. So I could get why people think you should do the stand and deliver and do it. But even when they came and the folks came down from Pennsylvania, we throw thumbers in Georgia with the minis, and I kind of feel like that's almost cheating. I
Yeah.
mean, but if it's allowed, I'm gonna do it. When I won my last mini title, it was mostly thumbers, but it is what it is. Those discs, it's easy thumber. You can throw up there,
Absolutely.
250. And if you can get a mini 250 in your basket, you feel like you're pretty awesome.
Now I know Innova's not making what I call the macro size. There isn't quite a defined name across all the manufacturers. Discraft calls them minis. Tesla or MVP calls them macros. Dynamic Disc calls them junior discs. But have you tried throwing those?
Yeah, I mean, I've thrown a little bit. I mean, I can't really get into the sport with those. I mean, I have seen the actual macro size baskets too, the mid-size mini baskets.
Oh, I haven't
Dollar has a
seen
whole
those.
set of those.
Yeah, those
He
are.
has a whole sets of those MVP, and they played the macro, but I've just pretty much stuck with the old mini myself. Matter of fact, during the time when I was really good with the mini, we played a practice round at USCGC after the tournament on Sunday with the wives, me and Jay Redding and Dez and Courtney. We went out there and played around Sunday after the tournament, and I pulled a mini out on 888 to see how it would go. and I got a 5 on it on 888 with a mini, and I got
Damn.
to stick in the basket too. I got to stick in the basket putt, which
The
is pretty
old
much impossible.
style with the tee pad by the parking lot, not the tee pad.
Yeah,
on
the old one went down the way, and Jay back he was had a blog going, and I remember him writing about that, about like all you fools that got 13s and 15s on it, you don't want to know what McCoy made with it with a mini.
with the mini.
That's
So yeah, when those
awesome.
things come out, you could bomb them, man. They would go a long ways, and I love mini golf. It's fun to play. I don't really take it that serious,
Yeah.
but anytime you're playing for money, it gets serious. So
Well, and that's the truth of the matter too, because like I remember one time, I don't even remember what worlds it was at, but it was back in the day when Matt Kerner and Liz were still together. And I remember Rivers won that year. Again, I don't remember where it was at though. It's like probably 96 or 97 or maybe 98 even. Might have been Cincinnati possibly. But anyways, I was just like, I was thinking, oh well, this is a good opportunity to just have fun and who cares and talk shit. Well, Matt had winning in the budget, and he didn't think it was cool at all. And they had like it caused a little bit of a rift between us because I was like, I talked more shit when I figured that out, and he was like, I was like, oh, wait a minute, you got this win budgeted in, don't you? Oh, then he was really grumpy.
oh yeah, I mean, hey, I've seen the champ Ken Climo and Dave Felberg almost get into it over some mini golf at the Players Cup down in Florida. They're arguing about what's pavement and what's cement, and because the OB rules were cement only or something, or I don't know how it was, but there was $500 on the line, so there were some serious there. It was funny, man, to see them go after each other over some mini golf.
Yeah, competitive.
Very good. Nice.
Definitely competitive.
So one of the other things I really want to talk to you about, I just want to, in the same way that, not in the same way, but in a similar way that mini golf is it's on the periphery of the tournaments that, especially at the Worlds, most people don't really, or I know at least the ground level, most people don't really give much thought to world doubles, but it's rare that somebody can repeat as a world double. But you are a 4-time champ with 4 different partners. That's an amazing feat. One of them with Elaine King.
Yeah.
And I think Stokely and Elaine King were your 2 Discraft years, weren't they?
Yep. Yeah.
And then you transitioned to Innova.
Yep. Stokely hit me up. He was supposed to play with Ron Russell or something, and Ron got hurt or something like that. And literally the night before, he's like, Kev, can you come play with me? And I was like, yeah. I mean, because Stokely was about as good as it got back then. So, I mean, I was locked into a pretty sweet partner. And the funny, kind of not so funny thing about that was um, after the first round, Stokely pretty much blew out his elbow. And the second round, we're going to lunch. He's like, just grabbed a big old bottle of ibuprofen and just choked him down. He says, I can get through this next round for you, Kev. And his shit was just hanging. And it was alternate shot. And luckily, I got the box and I just ran through Kaposia with my driver. And he just walked up and had tap in, tap in, tap in. And he didn't have to throw much. But that was the last round he played for 14 years.
Yeah, I remember that. So
He
that was
blew
one of
out.
the things.
He blew out.
That was one thing I wanted to ask though. So those were all of those doubles championships at Worlds, or were some of those when Hauk was running the World Doubles Championship?
Yeah, 2 of them were down there at Houks. Those were the majors. The ones with Elaine and the ones with Stokely were just the like Thursday before World's doubles or whatever. I don't even know what they
Right,
were,
right,
but
right.
they weren't really majors. And and actually the funny thing about the one with Elaine is we beat my wife in a playoff, my future wife, Courtney. So that's the first time I actually met her was there. So that was kind of a weird
Well,
situation.
okay,
But
so she can't be mad about that still.
yeah, the trophy's in the house. It worked out. So, but then yeah, then the ones down in Texas were the official World Doubles Championships that were majors, the 4 rounds of World Doubles. So I went to several of those. My first real good partner was Mikey Sayer, and I played a few with Mark Vozicek. We got I got third with both of those guys. And then, Brad Hammock just kind of out of nowhere, we kind of like, let's give her a try, because he'd won several before, but he was a Masters age player. And the crazy thing about that one was I totaled my truck on the way down there and literally sold my truck to the tow truck driver for $500. It was that bad. And
Wow.
Brad had to come pick me up. I was about 2 hours out. He had to come pick me up, and I literally was worthless on Saturday. I had whiplash, and I was just not in good shape. And he pretty much carried the load most of that tournament, and until the last round where I was starting to get my vibe back, and I could feel the wind coming. So I was like, just get through the finish line, and we got to the back nine of that one, and we started leaking oil, and I threw in a miracle ace, and it just kind of turned the tide, and we won that one. And and right after the event, he was like, "All right, McCoy, let's come do it again next year." And I was like, "Sorry, Brad, I got this young Jedi back home that we've already talked about next year," and that was Coda Hatfield.
Oh,
And
Coda was listening earlier. I don't know if he's still watching.
and Coda was, he was really Macbeth before Macbeth. I mean,
For
when he
sure,
first
for
got on the
sure.
scene, he was as good as it got. I mean, he had a fearless putt from range. Like he didn't care about, like, once we get to a certain age, you're like, if I miss this putt, it's gonna cost me $200. He never
Yeah,
had
but
that
he
feeling.
always missed the one. He always made the one coming back, though. I mean, it didn't.
And he
A lot
could
of
throw it
times, the
100
one coming
feet
back
further
was
than I could.
longer, and it was pure, and
He could throw it
crazy.
100 feet further than I could. He was, 10 years younger than me, so I was like, he just won Am Worlds doubles. And I was like, this kid's going to be the next big thing. I'm claiming him. And just the fact that McCoy Hatfield team, I mean, we don't even need a nickname. We just
All
got
right.
it. We already had a nickname. And I
Exactly.
swear, if that tournament was going on these days, and we were the winning team, we'd probably be on CNN. McCoy and Hatfield team up for, to do whatever,
They
but
bury the hatchet and finally stop the family feud.
family feud is over. The disc golfers have brought them together. I thought that was a big thing, and I thought for sure that'd be cool. But back then we didn't really have a lot of social media or anything where it could really blow up.
Just the
But
message board.
Just the message
yeah,
board.
but I thought that was a pretty big deal. Just the Hatfield McCoy thing, and
Yeah.
grabbing a kid that basically just come up from the AM ranks, and then Brad brought Ken Climo, and so it wasn't easy to get that next one. But with Brad and Ken Climo, and then me and Coda, we fended them off, and we won. That was my fourth one, and pretty much that tournament kind of went away after that.
Yeah, it's
Um,
unfortunate, man. I mean, I've talked about that recently, even. Like everybody, when people start, when the blue bonnets pop around here, then everybody starts pulling off the side of the road and getting their photos with their kid and and the wildflowers on the edge of the road and stuff. And I mean, remember how it was at Round Rock back in the day when it was
oh
like
yeah,
there wasn't no baseball field. I mean, no baseball stadium out front. It was just a stone house in the RV parking places, and then a bunch of soccer fields and a bunch of
remote
blue
control
bonnets.
airplane,
And then
remote
well,
control
even but
airplane.
in the beginning, there wasn't even that. Remember, in the beginning, it was just a boat. There was a guy with a boat out there, and then then the planes came along, and then the soccer fields. But we had that whole place to ourselves, and like that, everybody looked forward to national doubles. Then it was world doubles, but and people didn't even call it that. It was like, who are you going to Round Rock with? Who's your
Yeah.
partner for Round Rock? That was it. Everybody talked about that forever and ever and ever, and then all of a sudden moved to San Saba and it lost its luster. And I mean, it was cool out there, don't get me wrong, but man, it was such a drive out into the middle of nowhere. And it just kind of slid off. It was good at Wimberley. I enjoyed playing doubles down there at Wimberley, the 2 or 3 times that I did that with my arrow. But it was never quite the same. Well, and then if you go out there now, that ballpark's out there, and there's it's neighborhoods right around the park. The whole perimeter of the park is neighborhood. It's not like, I mean, there was nobody out there back then.
So now we can call it New Settlers Park, I guess.
Shoot, I came out there to play one February event, and the damn was snow on the ground in Austin. Talk about not being prepared to see snow in Austin. But even though it was February, but yeah, I remember playing Round Rock out there, Old Settlers Park, in the snow one day.
So Brad Schick wants you to tell the story about the fluke. I don't know. I don't
Oh,
know
the
this one.
fluke. That was Stilgenbauer, Jim Stilgenbauer at the
Elgin
Worlds.
Rocker.
Well, I mean, we were all pretty good disc golfers, and all of a sudden there's this guy, Jim Stilgenbauer, that's the first round at Miami Worlds. He gets 2 aces and just waxes Ken Climo by 4 strokes. Like, who the F is this guy? Get 2 aces in one round at Worlds. I mean, who the hell is this guy think he is? And so sure enough, Mitch Mack kind of gave him the nickname the Fluke, because there's no way this guy, because Stilgenbauer's a great guy. He was a
He is a
lead
great
front
guy.
for a band. If he ever does a Snoop Dogg for you, he'll have you rolling, man. He's just like perfect with it. But yeah, and
He's a metalhead too. That's why I call him Stilgen Rocker.
so yeah, we kind of nicknamed him the Fluke, but sure enough, the next year he came back and got top 10 again. I was like, damn, this guy really is good. We
Just
thought it was a fluke.
quietly do it too. We won't hardly hear from him. Just
Oh
over
yeah,
shredding the course. Keep it to
yeah.
himself. Billis, what's up, Greg Billis?
Big time. Big times on
Yeah.
the show. Wow.
Schwebby's tuned in. Nolan's tuned in. Brad
Look at
Schick's tuned in.
Everybody wants to hear the words of wisdom coming from Kevy. So, Kev,
Sean
what
Wynn's tuned in.
question I had when I first met you, you were I remember becoming aware of your name first of all as an up and coming player within the Team Discraft stable, which at that time was a lot more well developed than the Innova team. Innova was just basically just the champ, and you were with Discraft for I believe 6-7 years. Were like a major part of their team. What happened? How did you get to Innova? And I mean, you've been with Innova strong ever since, of course. But what was that transition like for you? Do you want to even go there?
Yeah, I'll go there. I will go there. Actually, at the time with Discraft, I must just chalk it up for pretty much stupidity on my part. You know, um, once you get you're touring disc golfer and you're out there and you're coming into every town in an RV, and you're all of a sudden you're the big shit. You're driving into the course in the Discraft RV and like, oh, look at the guy, the Discraft guy. Yeah, yeah. And you kind of start thinking your shit don't smell. You're like, I'm the man. That kind of stuff. And I thought the pasture might be a little greener on the other side, and had some little bit of drama with a couple of teammates with Discraft. This is back when Cam was
I
having some
forgot about
disciplinary
that.
issues, and Ron Russell was hard to deal with, and I was just like, man, these guys are just wearing me out every time I got there and play. It was just big. It just wasn't very much fun. But um, you know, I was like trying to get the PDJ to do something about people's behavior on the course and stuff like that. It just wasn't happening. And so I, kind of appealed to Discraft. And I was like, man, these are our guys out there. And at the time, they were just some fun sucks out there. It just, you had to play with them. You're like, oh, I got to play with them
Yeah,
this round.
it was definitely a different time, and I remember.
And it was, they were totally different off the course, but on the course they just had a reputation, and it got bad where I thought, well, if they're not going to do anything, if they're just going to keep those their main guys, I'm going to go to Innova and I'll be their main guy, which never really happened because they got Ken Climo and Barry Schultz and stuff like that. So, at the time I was like, I've had an RV every year from Discraft, and they put my name on a disc and stuff like that. And I was like, and I'm just as good as I'm gonna. I was getting better and better and better, and I thought the stuff would just keep happening for me. But anyway, wasn't really into buying people RVs and stuff like that. So, hindsight down the road, I probably might have should have stuck it out a few more years with Discraft. They were gonna keep me in an RV and let me travel around the country and everything. But I had some really good friends over at Innova, Steve Wisecup, Sammy Ferrens, and I talked to him a couple times, and they kind of gave me the if you want to come on over, you can come on over anytime you want to. And so kind of had a little bit of a spiff with the spat with the Discraft time about the behavior of the other players. And I was just like, well, screw it. I'm just gonna go with Innova then, show them guys. Well, it probably wasn't my best career move, but but really over the 20 years, Innova's done me pretty good. But like I said, I was traveling around an RV with Discraft and stuff. So sometimes you make a move like that, you don't get all the things you think you're going to get. So, but so anytime these players every off season think about, might be a little better on the other side. Sometimes it's not really that better on the other side when you're.
Yeah.
I was a
Yeah,
big fish
well,
on the small pond,
but
then I went to be a small fish in the big pond. So
things are things are drastically different, and they're fishing in way different ponds now than we were back then too, though.
yeah,
So
but I mean, even though I've been with Innova for 19 years, going on 20 years, I appreciate them. But I mean, I could never have got to the disc golf places I've ever got without Discraft.
Mm.
They put me in some really good spots, and I really actually I'm probably one of the only ones with Innova that's kind of happy to see Discraft having success. I mean, I want all the companies to have success, but especially one that helped me get my start. I'm happy for those guys for sure.
Was it a bit of a transition to like learn the different discs? I know you spending 7 years with Discraft, but for obviously someone as talented as you, it's not that big of a deal.
No, I was good at that time. It didn't matter. You could have put paper plates in my hand. I would have figured a way to get it down there.
So
Yeah, I
which
was really
it's the Indian,
time.
not the arrow.
oh,
Yeah. So, but in that 2005 year, I got third at USDGC. I got eighth at Worlds, even though I literally sliced my knee open the first round so bad you could see down to the bone. Dr. Doug, he was like, "You got to drop out of the tournament and go get stitches on that." And I was like, "I ain't dropping out of the damn tournament." And I literally through the rest of the first round and the second round just throwing thumbers or tomahawks to get through it. And I finally got to about day 3 where I could throw backhands again on my knee, and I got 8th place at that Worlds doing that shit. So I mean, if I was healthy, I definitely could have made some noise at that one. And like I said, I got 30 USDGC that year, one World Doubles, one MSDGC, Maple Hill. Um, those that was all within of us. So I mean, that was that first year within of I was kind of out
you
there
were
to kind
hot.
of I was trying to make a mark, say, hey, you guys messed up letting me go kind of thing with this craft.
Yeah.
But hindsight 20 years later, I was probably I was the jackass in that situation. So
Well,
Yeah,
you live
as
and you
and
learn. You live and
it's
you learn.
well, and you never, honestly, you never know what's going to happen, and it could happen to any of us. I mean, I could have stuck around and things would have been different with me and Mace Man, but I had to go home. There was no reason for I had no business staying out there, and it was way better for me to come home too. And now I look at it and go, wow. Because honestly, when I left the tour, I was like, this isn't going to happen in my lifetime. I firmly believed back then that what we're seeing right now was going to happen. I just didn't think, it was going to be in the next 40 or 50 years. I thought it was going to be a long time away, and it was going to have to be a lot of dramatic change before any of that became reality. And
Well, yeah, really about that 2007 to 2010 mark, there was kind of the doldrums. We didn't have any media out there.
yeah,
Even the
no, it
disc
was.
TV guys were gone. I mean, it was starting to look like we were probably might be peaked out. Like we felt like we could grow every 5 years. Like just wait 5 years, but just wasn't happening at the time. And matter of fact, at that time, it seemed like it was going the wrong direction. But then
And it
finally
may
something
have for a
started.
little bit, you could quite well be right, that it could have been just back a little bit of a backslide, and then all of a sudden it just launched. And again, man, I mean, just like everybody, I'm happy to see it all going well. I don't have any ill will towards any companies or any players really. It's just, hey, if you can get it, go with it, because
Oh,
Lord knows we would have loved to have gotten it back in our day.
Well, really, I mean, when you look at it, we all knew at the time. It just we thought it would go quicker, but it has to it has to reach a certain level of critical mass. There has to be an upswelling of desire and need for this game. We can't just be the guys say, "Hey, you got to play this. It's really great." You got to have people demanding. We want courses. We want to play. We love this game, and thanks to social media, thanks to the spread of actual media on the courses, thanks to the spread of the interwebs where we can go and see Maze Man
Don't
and you guys on The Price is Right.
don't
All of
forget
that
about
is
COVID either. COVID was a
well,
huge contributor. I mean,
I mean, it was golf was moving that way anyway, but certainly COVID was like, yeah, it was like
that was like the race fuel.
it did for disc golf what when the lockdown happened in 2004, 2005, that's when you saw online or televised poker really take off, because hockey was, well, certainly in Canada. I don't know about where you are, but we didn't have anything else to do. There's no hockey on. What are we going to watch?
Yeah,
You know,
right.
that vacuum, things have to go. So when the ultimate fields closed down because of COVID, people still want to throw, and disc golf was the perfect COVID sport. Non-contact, nobody's
Without a doubt.
social distancing. I mean, I social distance from the fairway as often as I can. Honestly, I'm in there in the weeds and the thistles. You can't catch anything from there. You know what I'm saying?
So listen, I don't even want to try to push this towards a wrap up, but aside from, I want to point out, hey, George Smith says, hey, Kevin, and
Love
a
George.
couple of things. Yeah, he said he loves you too. I two things that you wanted. One thing that you mentioned that we want to talk about, and then something that B and I want to talk about too, before we get done here. But the first thing I want to say is we haven't talked about your presence and your membership on the board of directors of the PDGA, and the fact that you helped introduce league play to the PDGA. So why don't you talk a little bit about that before we forget to mention that? Because I mean, I'm sure we'll say a few other things before this is over, but I didn't want to miss that for sure.
Yeah, it was kind of a crazy thing when I moved from Oklahoma to Georgia. I went from being the state coordinator, being one of the key players at Tulsa Disc Sports Association, to moving to Georgia, and I really didn't know anybody in Georgia, but I was heavy into disc golf. So Juliana Corver, of all people, hit me up and was like, "You'd be a good candidate for the board of directors." And I kind of laughed at her, and I was like, "I'm not really that kind of guy," but sure enough, I thought about it, and I was like, I do have some plans I'd like to do. I'd like to kind of restructure worlds. Definitely would like to get leagues going, because I always knew that even the service industry, or even my local players in my local league, the Tuesday night minis and Thursday night minis, they were pretty diehard showing up every Tuesday and Thursday, but they wouldn't travel 30 minutes to go play a weekend tournament. So I was like, if we could tap into that market and we could have a sustainable, action for PDGA, and especially with ratings. I mean, that's the carrot that everybody's chasing in PDGA anyway. They want to shoot around and go check out the ratings. So I figured if we could start having sanctioned leagues, that it would increase memberships. There'd be more reason to be a member, because even though you might not play in all these big weekend tournaments, every Tuesday night you're going to get a rating for your stuff. So people are going to be chasing that. So sure enough, I mean, I knew that was my big thing when I got to be on the board of directors. That's what I ran on. I was like, if we can get the league started, this will be a sustainable way to income for the PDGA, because each league member pays 50 cents to the PDGA for their league round.
I was
So
just
basically
going to ask how much it was.
So we actually made it where it's $1, and so 50 cents would stay with the club, so they could do course improvements or do whatever they want with it, and then another 50 cent would go to the PDGA. So basically, I was doing some math recently, and the PDGA has made well over $1 million through just the PDGA league's fees itself, let alone the retention of PDGA members. Like I said, my hometown, I was the president of the Columbus Disc Golf Club there for a little while, and there was 5 PDGA members in that town before PDGA leagues. And once they had PDGA leagues and they had a league in their hometown, they had 45 PDGA members.
Well, there
So
you go.
I mean, they went from 5 tour like golfers that would travel maybe an hour to go play a weekend tournament, and all of a sudden they got 45 people that are PGA members playing town.
For the
So,
current dues players.
so not only the PGA fees they're getting from the league fees and the sanctioning fees, they're getting retention of PGA memberships and stuff like that. I mean, I have no doubt that it's been a $10 million impact to the PGA. So, and last year was a 10-year anniversary, and I know that the PDGA has been engulfed in the whole transgender subject, but I mean, I was kind of thought it was kind of crazy that leagues went 10 years and they still haven't made any kind of push to make leagues better or said, "Hey, Kevin, thanks for developing the leagues,
What a
or
good
bringing
idea.
what a good idea." Little pat on the back. When I was on the board of directors, I mean, there were several paid advisors that were like, that did the course directory, the rules guy, and everything like that they paid to take care of that kind of stuff. And so here I am. I gave them a program, the PGA leagues, that made them millions of dollars, and I can't even get to say, "Hey, man, hey, thanks, Kev, good idea," or a pat on the back, or "Hey, maybe you could be a paid intern or a paid advisor for leagues," because I still have a lot more plans for leagues. I got plans for leagues that would make leagues much more profitable for the PGA than even tournament. So I just needed a little bit of technology. Matter of fact, when I was on the board, one of the other things I wanted to do was to bring disc golf scene into the PGA. That was one of the pushes, because with leagues, I was like, if I can use his league's platform on disc golf scene, then we can help build the whole league's platform for PGA. So I was like, we
Man,
got to get this golf scene guy. And
that
so, and while I was on
that's
the board, I mean,
incredible.
those are the kind of key things I got going. The disc golf scene, PGA leagues, and the world's restructured. So the world's
So you brought
restructured
in,
wasn't very popular at first
you brought in
because,
disc golf scene.
well, I mean, I'm not gonna say I made the deal, but I was
You
the one pushing for it. I
you
was like, we got
you,
to get
you
this
kind of
golf
helped broker
scene.
it. That's
Chris
a
is a
great move.
genius.
That's an awesome product, and I mean, it's like what we were talking about earlier before Paul came on. About the way that I don't know if you're familiar with disc golf scene or not, Paul, but it's a website. That they handle registration, like the
Yeah.
whole thing. Like my Zebo's Open is live on it right now, and every now and then I just look at my inbox and I just have to dump the email over into the folder. I don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Like I did it the other day. I set it up on Monday, got it all live and running, and at 5 o'clock, like all of a sudden there's people entering the event, and it's not obviously as good as it's been in the last couple of years in terms of just making an event live and it fills. Although that does happen on the Pro Tour and the Silver Series, from what I understand, but not everybody's events are filling now, and that's fine. But it's such a nice thing. Like I sold it out, and the first time I really saw the flash crazy thing, like the whole event sold out in 10 days, and then I changed it and added like 40 more people, and that sold out in like 3 more days, and then people, okay, well, I want to withdraw, so you got a waiting list. They take the money for the waiting list. I mean, it's awesome. It's a great tool.
And
Pretty
And when
good.
he's
I
done a lot of the behind the scenes on the making the tournament director's job a lot easier. The live scoring, all that stuff. He's done a lot of that stuff with PJ.com too. So bringing him over for disc golf scene I thought was really a key move while I was on the board. I mean,
It's a great
like I said,
tool.
it's just been so easy for the PJ to handle registration and do all that stuff themselves.
It's so nice to not have to stand there at lunchtime and go 1 over, 2 over, 200, 300, 300, 400, 500, 600. Oh, damn! Look
that,
at this.
that
It's 7.
that's how I became
Two
friends with
under.
math again. It's only through the 3 times 18 decimal system. That's all.
That's over, man.
That's the only
It's
way I
over.
could process math.
Thing
Now
of the past. What's up, Jim Davidson?
I have no other functions.
Hey, it's hard to add a scorecard now that I haven't added a scorecard in almost a year and a half. What I had to do
Yeah,
on
because
this
you're
weekend,
still
I was like,
required to.
be able to fly through this in about a half a second here. Now I'm actually have to double check myself.
Wait a minute. Hey, you want to do this math? Schwebby and Luke Butch have tuned in again.
Luke Butch, right on. Right on, way to go. Well, I know that the explosion, I think it's a wonderful idea bringing leagues into the whole mix, because that was always one of the things where it was like church and state. You had your tournament players, and some of those tournament players would obviously play the league, but you would have guys that would only play league night, and they wouldn't really, I mean, they might come out at the tournament at their home course just to watch or heckle or whatever, but bringing them into the fold only helps us all. And especially
Well,
at such a low impact, like you don't have to be full 9 yards. You can still be just a league member, but you're helping the PDJ along. And that's gold. That's finding another revenue stream that you never even thought was possible. And now you can't even go about your daily business without that other revenue stream, And that's basically
Yeah, I will say though, I mean, if you look at the membership growth and the way the chart kind of started spiking that way, it lines right up with leagues. I mean, the spike really started in
Oh, so
2011.
you're gonna take all that credit,
I'm
huh?
not taking all the credit. I'm just saying
We're
it
giving
helped
him
out.
some of it. We're
It helped
definitely
out.
giving him
It
some of
helped
the
out.
credit.
And we should, and I feel like the PGA should say, well, thanks a little bit. I mean, come on. I mean, I know I've probably capped PGA off a few times, but
Okay, Kevin, on
I
behalf
mean,
of the
this is about
PDGA,
as
I want to
simple as
thank
it
you
can
for
get.
introducing the leagues to the PDGA.
I was like, man, I can't believe I've hurt their feelings that bad. They can't even say what's up,
Well, some of those posts, some of the message board posts were a little inflammatory, so maybe they're still.
They might be scared of Kev. Big Kev, riding again. Not crossing Nina Fo Tre.
you don't know.
Well, listen.
Sometimes that neighborhood I grew up into got me in trouble.
Oh, is that what you're gonna blame it on?
We run the mouth off a little bit.
Yeah, I remember that time when I told you I couldn't hang out with you anymore.
Well,
I didn't mean it.
I've had an amazing time just catching up with you. I know you're a veritable, every hat you've worn, you've done amazing work with it as a player, as a promoter, as working with the PDGA leagues, being on media, especially with the course design. Definitely a shoe in for the Hall of Fame if the PDGA isn't still to burnt bridge with you by that point.
Burnt
Maybe
bridge. There's no burnt bridge.
I know. I just give them a hard time, but I do have good relationships with a lot of those folks over there. But sometimes let's feel like they're out to get me sometimes.
Well, honestly, I think that anything that we don't always have to be on the same page in terms of promoting the sport. And I think as long as we just acknowledge that we're all out there working, for the greater good in general. And we might not, I mean, I left the PDJ in 2005, 2006 to start something here locally, grassroots, just not really trying to funnel people into the professional, but more like, hey, we're all adults. Let's have a weekend for ourselves. And I feel that we can have both in the same world. We could have the professional starch collar world, and we can have the tie-dye, bunch of guys and bunch of people just kicking back and one hand with a disc and one hand with a beer. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. We're still all playing this wonderful, beautiful game.
Hey, so you can't just, you sound like you're about to wrap this up, but we still got one more thing to talk about.
Oh, okay. Oh, right.
Hockey picks.
Hockey picks. Wait, we don't even know.
Well, we're still working it out, but we got Kev here, and Kev's like a consummate sports fan, and I can't help but feel like he's going to want to jump in on this.
I mean, Philly's going to win it all, isn't it? I mean, aren't they going to win everything?
Hockey? Maybe he can't get in on this.
I mean, Boston.
maybe he can't get in on this.
Is it Boston? Boston's got the best record in the league, right?
Boston has the best record.
That's what I meant.
I think they might have clinched the President's Trophy already as well.
Oh yeah, they clinched.
And so
they're going to set the record for the most points.
And I think they already did, but that doesn't mean shit if they lose in the first round. And I'm not saying that's for sure going to happen. But here's the deal: me and V picked last year. We wrote it on the board, and we haven't exactly worked out how we want to do this completely. But I think we talked about adding like 3 more people to the picking group, and I don't know if this is something you want to get involved in, or if you're paying enough attention to hockey or not to get involved. But I know as a friend of yours for like virtually for 30 years at this point, I know that you're a crazy sports fan, and this isn't outside your realm. So would you be interested in being involved in that with us?
I mean, I'm not much of the only thing I wager on these days is really horses. But
we're not necessarily talking about wagering. We're just talking about making picks and talking shit. Yeah. And I know you're good at talking shit. So, I mean, but if you don't want to be involved, that's fine. And we'll text, you can text with me, or we can do this, and then it'll just be a part of the show. But we did a board. We wrote down, I got a dry erase board for it. We did a board last year, and we just wrote down picks, and we'll do it round by round. And
I would give you 3 picks. And if you want to do what you want with them, I would probably be in the Boston, Carolina, Colorado.
What we'll do is we're going to wait until the field's full, wait until we know who's getting in and what's going to happen. And then, for the first round, there's 8 games. So you make your picks of 8 series, excuse me. And so 4 in the East and 4 in the West, you make your picks. It's going to be so-and-so, this many games or whatever. And then, we just compare. And then then the next round, we'll get your picks again.
I'm
Leafs
not
in 5.
opposed. I'm not
Leafs in
opposed.
5.
I'm
But wait.
definitely down for any friendly competition.
Do you have an NHL team that you feel more connected to or more supportive of?
The weird thing is when I started growing up, we got the New Jersey Devils on Sportscast or something. That was the team when they had the green
This is why he has
sleeve.
no home teams. It's all cable TV.
So yeah, so that was the first team I've kind of followed. Then I was really kind of into the Avalanche, and then when I moved to Atlanta, the Flames were still here. And I was like, let's get into Atlanta, and so they moved away,
No, it
and I
wasn't the
just kind
Flames.
of
It was the other team,
The Thrashers.
the Thrashers. Yeah, the
Thrashers,
Thrashers are
Thrashers. That's
still
what I
there.
meant. The
So
Thrashers. Yeah, they came from Calgary. Then they were the Thrashers. That's right.
Did
And
your
yeah, when they
allegiance?
moved away, I really haven't
Oh.
followed hockey that much as much. So I did see that Toronto finally had a squad recently, which was always big news because they've been so bad lately. But and I was always fired up for Guru if the Maple Leafs were good, So
Why would you be fired up for him? He doesn't give a shit about the Leafs.
I don't know. He lives on the island, Paul, I'm fired up for all the Toronto.
There you go.
No.
Guru is more into soccer than hockey, but that's fine. We appreciate.
B, on the other hand,
What?
B so bitter right now that we were talking about how we're going to work out the schedule the next 4 weeks with the Stars playing and the starting in playoffs and stuff. And so I'm like, I've got everybody. We got Jennifer Allen next week. We got Brad Schick the week after, and we got Jonathan Poole the week after that. But like Schick and Jonathan may get shuffled around a day or two just because I might have a live, playoff game to go to. And Paul's like he goes, I'm still too bitter. I'm not even going to any of the watching parties or any of that shit. I'll be fine on any day. It doesn't matter if the Leafs are playing or not. And I was just like going, dang.
Listen,
that is some deep rooted bitterness.
Everything's going to be redefined if the Leafs make it past the first round. But until then,
yeah, it's all going to change then. We're going to the Cup.
I did get to see my first playoff hockey game with Mace, though. We got to see the Stars and Nashville play. That was pretty freaking awesome. Playoff hockey is definitely turned up.
I think everybody on the channel and everybody watching this eventually in the future, one of your bucket list items should be to see at least a hockey game, even if it's a regular season game with Mace Man. You need to be in the arena. You need to be in the barn with the shot caller right there, because that's, first of all, you need to have earplugs.
I'm not a quiet person.
And if you haven't ever watched any hockey before, go watch some old time hockey like Eddie Shore slap shot. It gets you everything you need to know for your trip to the rink.
Putting on the foil,
old time
coach.
hockey like Eddie Shore.
Yeah.
Oh, good times for sure. Well, Kev, thank you for taking the time to talk with us and for regaling us with all these wonderful tales. So many, just scratching the surface on so many things, but
exactly.
Leaves.
I mean, we could have you on again, and we probably will, for sure. Because it's like, we're not even started. We didn't even talk about the gorilla suit. We didn't talk about Big Game Jamie. We didn't talk about we didn't talk about the poker tournament with the Golden Chigger Jay Redding. There's
we could go deep. We could go deep. We could go deep a couple days worth for sure.
For sure. And seriously, I'm gonna say this again. I know I sent you this message yesterday when we were texting, but it's just remarkable to me that so many of my favorite memories of good times in my disc golf days, you were right there, or I was right there beside you, or you were right there beside me. I just started thinking about all these different things yesterday, and there's just so many different places. We've hung out in so many different places, and just had so many good times. So many good times. I mean, lots and lots
Absolutely.
of Tulsa, without a doubt. I mean, I have to say to all those Tulsa people, man, I had so many good times in Tulsa. So many. I miss it. I really do miss going up there. And I'm actually looking forward to going up there and making some glass in the community center that's on McClure. You know, that old community center is now a glass
Oh
school.
yeah. Yep.
And
Yep.
so I'm really, really looking forward to doing something like that up there in the not too distant future. But man, I so miss all those good times we had across the street from 18 and McClure. You know, all the different people who owned and rented and lived in that house that I stayed with over the years. And I mean, yeah. Thanks, Kev. I really appreciate the good times, man, for sure.
Oh yeah.
all
It's
about.
been a blast for sure.
Nice. Well, Kev, good luck with the horses. Good luck with the racing. Good luck with course installation. Good luck with everything you need. Good luck with, and just keep doing what you do, man. I mean, in terms of for me, the smile is everything, and you definitely got one of the best smiles in the business. And you know, you light up a room, you light up the sport. Not the same without you, and you know, we need you in the business. So keep doing what you do, buddy. I appreciate it.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
So thank you for being with us. Thanks for taking the time and John with us and telling us all those wonderful stories. Appreciate it.
Anytime. Just holler.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
All right, Kev, you take care, okay?
All right, we'll see you guys.
Later, bros. Oh, let me turn all this off. Stop the live stream. All right. The live stream is stopped. Man, it was good times, Kev. Thanks a lot for stopping by. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool.
Hopefully,
And if you ever need me to have somebody not show up for you, I know the wife would do it too. She
Oh yeah, well, we'll definitely want to get Courtney on too, because I mean, like, that's the whole goal of this. Is just to tell all these different stories, and you know, she's definitely got some stories to tell too.
well, she's the highest rated pro female of all time coming out of Oklahoma, rated 946. It's in the Oklahoma State records. We got to talk to record holders for sure.
I didn't know that. I didn't even know that.
There you go. Score some points by saying, "Hey, baby, you're the all-time."
Yeah, she when she moved to Oklahoma, she was really good at that time. I mean, she was really good. So when living in Oklahoma and playing in the wind just made her a little bit better. So she was
Yeah.
pretty damn good golfer at that time.
For me, when I first learned how to play was on the island, and back then there were a lot more trees that were protecting things. And my first experience at Centennial Park, I'm like, what is this wind? How do you play in this? Does this ever slow down? And you guys were playing like it's like as if you're playing in a jet turbine engine.
Mitch Mack used to say, "Hey, old Mace man, there's white caps in my bathtub."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and it's crazy. I went from extreme wind to where I play at now. There's never any wind. I mean, Georgia, if it gets up to 5-10 miles an hour, people think it's blowing 30 miles an hour. I
Well,
can't even play
it
it.
might be blowing 30 up top, but you guys got trees everywhere, so you're never gonna get it. You're never gonna feel it.
Yeah. And they're automatically intimidated by me when I show up on a windy day. They're like, he's from Oklahoma. We got no chance.
That's one
I've
thing
only
that
won
people
many
don't
tournaments
know.
on windy days here.
Like I vividly remember when Ron Converse came and was on the lead card final day at USTGC, and he's wearing his slacks and everything and his hat, and it's just howling. And they're like, "Who the hell is this guy?" And I was like, "Oh, don't you better get out of the way. This guy's not gonna let up. If the wind keeps blowing like this, he might win."
Yeah. We had some pretty good golfers in Oklahoma for sure.
Lots of pretty good golf, lots of really good golfers. I mean, and then just lots of great people. You know, I mean, if you just think back to all the think of like Brent. You know, I mean, like, has there ever been a person better than Brent? I mean, yeah, there has. How, baby, but I wouldn't say better, just as good as. In terms of, and I'm not even talking about golf skill. I'm just talking about great people. You know,
Yeah.
Brent Edwards, one of my all-time favorites. Halker's one of my all-time favorites, obviously. But I mean, shit, the McClellans, Connors,
I definitely miss Connors, man. That one hit hard. Have one of your best
Yeah.
friends at your same age, when it's your first time with somebody your own age, you can relate with, is gone. It hits you home pretty hard.
What's really cool is Tong lives down here now, so me and him have been hanging out a lot. So like I got a lot of flashbacks to those old memories too, And Tong, we're going Tong's already on board for USDGC this year, so he
Cool.
booked it last year, just like the year before. So
Hell yeah. I might see you guys up there then. Who knows?
well, I hope so, man. It's number 25, dude. It's gonna be off the
It's
chain.
gonna be off the chain.
Paul's
even
gonna be there. B's gonna be there.
First time in 15, 16
He's gotta
years.
cross a border, dude.
Really?
He just gotta cross a
Alright.
state line.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be. That's right. You're just in Georgia. You just have to go up the road a little bit.
It's
Yeah.
about 5 hours away. It's not that far. 5
Yeah,
hours. So
Come on. You ain't talking us into it. You gotta talk yourself into it.
Yeah, I might still have a chance to get in that tournament. Who knows?
Yeah.
Well, hey, look what happened in
Hey, Schick's done
2005.
it. Schick's done it the
qualified on
last
the
couple of
Monday.
years.
Yeah,
Never know.
I had a chance this weekend. I didn't get close, but I got a couple more chances this year. So who knows? Who knows?
Well, you're still out there. You're still throwing some hot golf, and it's great to see the Masters all like. Now I look at the Masters tournaments at the Masters division. I know all those players. Back when I was, a young Schaefer,
Oh yeah,
they
those
were
are
just
all of our
legends.
friends.
Now they're like, oh my god, what? They're that old? I'm that
Oh,
old.
they're
too.
dude,
my
they're all of our friends are in their 50s now.
I know.
Yeah, I'm moving up that next age rank myself next year, and see
Ooh.
guys like Nolan turn into 40-year-olds now. It's just like I'm definitely
Gotta go.
I'm old. Body's still hanging in there though. I haven't had too many serious injuries. Kind of had a
You're
little
48.
small toe injury. Yeah, I'll be 49 later in the year, and then 50 next year. So I'll be able to play 50-year-olds next year, but same old people I've been playing against my whole life.
Yeah.
The same
So
people
it
you've
ain't
been schooling.
Just not gonna
with.
have to be putting up with Kale and Nolan.
No.
All right,
But
fellas.
I'm looking forward to playing with Nolan in a couple weeks for sure.
Yeah, I think he is too.
What's going on in
Cool.
a couple of weeks? What are you playing?
Bowling Green.
Bowling Green.
Oh, okay. Cool. Well, I'm gonna sign off. I'll let you guys continue on however long, but unfortunately, I gotta wake up early. I'm a school crossing guard now, and
Awesome.
I gotta be up there and ready to go when time. Oh, I don't have my.
Dude, the
Pull
funny
out my
thing
stop
is,
sign.
when I was in elementary school, I wanted to be the cross guard captain so bad, and I worked real hard to become the cross guard captain. And one day into my job, I got fired for throwing rocks at cars. I mean, how stupid was I? I worked the whole ass off to be the cross guard captain, and then sure enough, I got caught throwing rocks at cars at lunchtime, and I got kicked off the squad.
That's hilarious.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be thinking about that all day tomorrow, watching the cars go through the red light.
I should hit you with a rock.
But once
All right,
again,
well, I'll
thank
see you
you,
guys.
thank you, buddy.
Let me know
and
if you need anything.
Thanks,
to
Kev.
Courtney.
Good to see you, man. Good talking with you. Thanks for joining us, and we'll
All
talk
right.
to you again soon.
All right,
Peace.
we'll see you.
Right on,
Later,
guys.
guys.